Oscar Wilde once said, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken." That's the first reason I'm here. The second reason is them, my 3 kids. I'm here because of them, or should I say, thanks to them. Ever since they were born, there was one thing that was most important to me, and I was eager to find it. I wanted to help them be themselves, just like Wilde said. I wanted them to feel good about themselves, with who they are and what they do. I wanted them to feel fulfilled, satisfied, self-confident. I wanted them to have a sparkle in their eye. And what started as me wanting to help my own kids soon became my passion, my academic profession, and my life journey towards helping other parents and teachers from all over the world find the shining star inside their kids and students. What I found is that it's not a matter of faith, and it's not a matter of luck. The answer lies within our kids, inside them. And with the right navigator, we can help them find the shining star, or at least start their path towards revealing it. I call this shining star the inner core. And one of the most powerful stories that inspired me during my journey was Debbie's story. Debbie is the mother of a son with ADHD. She noticed that he had low self-esteem and that he was unhappy, and she tried to help him in every way she could by exposing him to different kinds of activities and hobbies in order to find the one thing he's really good at, his dominant strength. She noticed that he was at his best at the swimming pool, so she encouraged him to develop himself through his swimming. In addition, the boy's coach noticed that he had 2 dominant passions. He loved to win, and he loved taking the lead. So connect all the dots, and what do you get? That's right. First of all, you get a kid who expressed his inner core. But what else do you get? I'm talking about the son of Debbie Phelps, Michael, the best Olympic swimmer in history, with the greatest number of gold medals. And a great deal of his success was because of his relationship with his mother, Debbie. So, what exactly is the inner core? Why is it so important to find it? And how are we going to do what Debbie did and to find and to express the inner core in our lives? And we don't have to raise the next Michael Phelps to do that. There are 2 simple and important elements we need to take under consideration while searching for our child's inner core. The first element is what our child is good at, his dominant strength. The second element is what our child loves, what he's passionate about. Now, here comes an interesting question that changed my understanding on the whole subject. Do we love what we are good at? Think about it. Do we love what we are good at? For example, if my child is good at math, does it mean that he loves solving math problems? Now, our natural tendency is to think that yes, what we are good at, we also like doing, and that is why we are usually told to strengthen our kids' strengths. And it comes from the assumption that their strengths and passions are actually the same thing. But here's the catch. In my work with parents, teachers, and students, I did find a correlation between strength and passions, but most of the time, they do not fully overlap. So, being good at something doesn't necessarily mean that we also love it and that we enjoy doing it. Take, for example, the girl in the picture. From a young age, it was clear that she had inherited her father's musical talent and that she's going to be one day a great musician. So she started to play the accordion. And in case you are wondering, that girl was me. And here I am, playing the accordion. And believe it or not, I was very, very good at it. But here comes the sad part. I hated playing the damn instrument. I hated practicing. I hated being constantly volunteered to play at school events. And I just waited for the moment to come to my dad. Where are you? To come to my dad and tell him, I want to stop. And it took me 4 years to do it. So sometimes reinforcing a child's strength may actually inhibit his self-fulfillment. And we should distinguish between what I call his inhibiting strength, what we are good at but don't love, and the core strength, what we are good at and also love doing. And we should focus on developing our core strength. But here comes another interesting question. Why? Why is it so important to find and express the core strengths which actually create the inner core? To answer this question, we conducted research at my Simply Me Learning Center with hundreds of parents, teachers, and students. And the first part of the research was the rainbow loom experiment. That's right, I'm talking about those small rubber bands to create necklaces, key holders, bracelets, things like that. We took only students that considered themselves good at rainbow loom, and we divided them into 2 groups. Group number 1, those who are good at rainbow loom and don't love it, and group number 2, those who are good at rainbow loom and also love it. And we gave them the instructions to make the longest snakes they could in 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we checked which team had made the longer snakes, which team had made the nicest snakes, and the overall motivation during the process. What we found was that group number 1, those who are good at rainbow loom but don't love it, made longer snakes, but they complained the whole time and were eager to finish. On the other hand, group number 2, those who are good at rainbow loom and love it, made shorter snakes because they were investing time in choosing colors, the quality of the knots, and the overall appearance. And when the time was up, they didn't want to finish, and it was hard for them to part with it. In short, the motivation was high in the sky. Here you can see them happy with their snakes. So, see how important it is to love what you're good at? The second part of the research contained a questionnaire we gave to parents and children in order to see if there was a correlation between what parents believed were their core and inhibiting strengths about the children and what the children themselves believed were their core and inhibiting strengths. And guess what? We found no correlation, which means that sometimes we think that we know what's best for our kids and students, but we sure don't. And here comes the $1 million question. How? How are we going to find and express the inner core in our kids' life? To do that, we are going to build what I call the Simply Me matrix. Relax, you don't need a PhD in math for it. Okay, the y-axis represents different core strengths we think or we know that our child or student has. For example, maybe he's a good organizer and loves it, maybe he's a good performer and loves it, maybe he's a good writer and loves it, maybe he's a good singer and loves it, etc. The x-axis represents different loves and passions we think or we know that our child or student has. For example, maybe he loves people, maybe he loves music, maybe he loves fashion, sports, you name it. Now, once we understand how to build this matrix, we can begin the fun part by taking different core strengths from the y-axis and connecting them with different loves and passions from the x-axis to create new and exciting activities for our kids and our students, which are actually their inner core. Now let's see a real-life example. This is Peleg. Peleg is a great kid who is also a very good writer and loves it, which means that writing is one of Peleg's core strengths. Now, Peleg also has 3 dominant passions. He loves people, he loves technology, and he loves going to see shows. Connect all the dots, and what do you get? A kid who had discovered his inner core. After brainstorming with his mother, Peleg decided to start his own blog for show reviews. So what can I say? He found a great way to fulfill himself and to express his inner core in his life. But you have to remember one very important thing. Involve your kids and your students in this process. And just do the opposite of this picture. Open your ears and listen to what they have to say. Open your eyes and observe. Open your mouth and ask them questions, because they're the ones who have the answers. And for our sweet dessert, I would like to present you with an apple. We are all familiar with Isaac Newton, that discovered the law of gravity, thanks to the apple that fell on his head. Imagine now that each and every one of you are little Isaac Newtons, and that you are about to see your child gravitate toward the things he's good at and loves. And each and every one of you is hit on the head by an apple as a wake-up call. And the apple splits in 2. But not in the normal way we used to cut an apple to 2. Since we're talking about a change in our approach, instead of cutting the apple from top to bottom, we are going to cut it horizontally. Let me show you how. Ta-da-ta-tam. Here's my table. Okay. I brought a knife here and I entered with the knife. Okay, now instead of cutting it this way, we are going to cut it horizontally. You have stars and you didn't even know it. Let me show you how it looks. Pass this message on to other parents and teachers, because in each one of their kids and students there is a shining star. We just have to help them find it and be themselves. And it's never too late for us as adults to find our shining star as well. Thank you.